Hello everyone, welcome to Mechanical Engineering online classes. This is Ramanti Sriramoju. Friends, in this video we will learn the kinetic theory of gases. So it deals with the behavior of molecules contained in the gas. So according to this theory, all the gas molecules will be continuously in motion. Because of this motion, they possess kinetic energy. When molecules collide with one another, energy will be transferred from one molecule to the other. So because of this, change in velocity will occur. In general, molecular behavior will be highly complex. So in order to simplify the analysis, the following assumptions are made. Let us look into what are the different assumptions made in the kinetic theory of gases. The first assumption is that all the molecules are solid spheres. That means they are spherical in shape and they are not hollow, they are solids. And all molecules are rigid and perfectly elastic. And third assumption is that all molecules are identical in all respects. That means mass, form, etc. are all same for every molecule. And the next assumption is that the distance between any two molecules is very large compared to the dimensions of the molecule. Our fifth assumption is that all molecules are in random motion. That means they are not moving in a specified manner. The next assumption is that the molecular collisions are perfectly elastic, which means that there are no intermolecular forces of attraction or repulsion, and also it means that there is no deformation in the molecules after they collide. Next assumption is that even in a small volume of gas, there are large number of molecules. The next assumption is, for example, the molecule is colliding with another molecule at position 2. So here the molecule has moved from position 1 to position 2. The time of travel from moving from position 1 to position 2 is very much larger compared to the time of collision. The next assumption is due to lack of friction, molecules move in a straight line with uniform velocity. Let us now take a look at the next assumption, where capital V is denoting the volume of gas and small v is the volume of a molecule. Now according to this assumption, volume of molecule is very smaller compared to the volume of gas. Let us consider a molecule which is drawn in red color. It has now collided with a green molecule. Later, after collision, it has moved to another position where it collided with the pink color molecule. Okay, so between the first collision and second collision, whatever distance is traveled by this red color molecule is called free path. Okay, so here I am denoting it as free path 1, first free path. Now after the colliding with the pink molecule, it has collided with another molecule which is indicated in green color here. After moving another certain distance, that is denoted as free path 2. So by definition, free path is the distance between two collisions. Okay, so from collision 1 to collision 2, it is known as free path. I have named it as the first free path, which is not equal to free path 2. It need not be always equal, right? From collision 2 to collision 3, it has moved by some another distance. By definition, it is called free path, but all the free paths are not same. That's why I have given the suffixes 1, 2 and so on. So if I take the average of all such free paths for a molecule, it is denoted by mean free path. It is nothing but the average of all the free paths travelled by a single molecule. Now let us consider a cubical vessel, inside which there is a certain quantity of gas. Let us assume that the length, breadth and height of the cubical vessel is small l. And let us also assume that within the cubical vessel there are very large number of molecules denoted by capital N. Apart from that, we will also assume that the vessel walls are perfectly elastic. For the analysis purpose, let us consider a single molecule denoted by this red ball whose mass is small m, and it is assumed to be traveling with a velocity c1. So this is moving in 3D space, not on the plane of paper. Now when I resolve c1 along x-axis, I get u1, and along y-axis the component is v1, and along z-axis it is w1. Thus c1 square is equal to u1 square plus v1 square plus w1 square. Now consider the face ABCD, which is the rightmost face of the cube. Let us assume that the molecule of mass m is at position 1 and it has striken the face ABCD. A velocity u1. That means we are considering the collisions and movements of molecules only along x direction first. As the wall ABCD is perfectly elastic, the molecule will bounce back with the same velocity, that is u1, only the direction is changed. When, for example, here if you have ABCD wall, it has moved with u1 velocity in this direction. So after collision here at position 1, the direction will be changed, but the velocity will not change. So the momentum of molecule before it strikes the wall ABCD is, momentum formula is mass into velocity. So it is m into u1. So the momentum after striking ABCD will be minus m into u1, because the direction of velocity is changed. So the change of momentum in x direction will be the initial momentum minus final momentum. So what is the initial momentum? It is mu1 minus of minus mu1. This is the final momentum, minus mu1. So what is the actual change in momentum? It is 2m into u1. So at position 1, the molecule has collided with face ABCD and it is bounced back in the same direction, that is along x direction, and it moves to position 2 where it collides with the face EFGH. So what is the distance traveled here from collision 1 to collision 2? It is L distance. Now after colliding here, because this wall is also again perfectly elastic, it will again bounce back with the same velocity, but the direction of that velocity component will be changed, and it will again move from position 1 to position 3, which is nothing but position 1. So what is the total distance traveled by this molecule to reach the same position again? It is L in this direction, in negative x direction, and again L in the forward x direction. So it is 2L distance, because the distance between two faces is L. So the total distance traveled by the molecule to reach position 1 again is 2L. Now the time taken for traveling this 2L distance, or the time taken to hit the face ABCD again, is given by, what is the time taken formula? It is T is equal to length, distance divided by velocity. Velocity is u1. This is the time taken. Now let us calculate the rate of change of momentum. Of one molecule. Now what is rate of change of? The rate means 1 by time. So change of momentum. What is change of momentum? It is 2m u1 divided by time. What is time? It is 2L by u1. whenever we say rate, we have to divide the term by time. So I'm simplifying this as mu1 square by L. Now according to Newton's second law of motion, F is equal to m into A. So I can write m into A as m v minus u by t. So it is mv minus mu by t. So what is m into velocity? Mass into velocity is nothing but momentum. So can I say that the numerator is change of momentum divided by time is rate of change of momentum. So rate of change of momentum according to second law of motion is force. So I am writing this mu1 square by L as F1, that is the force exerted by one molecule in x direction is equal to mu1 square by L. So F1 is the force exerted by one molecule along x direction. Similarly, F2 is the force exerted by the second molecule in x direction only. Now similarly we have n number of molecules which are present inside the cubic vessel. So Fn is the force exerted by nth molecule in x direction. So if we want to calculate the total force that is exerted in the x direction due to all molecules, we will have to sum up all the forces. So what is Fx? I have to substitute F1, F2, F3 and so on. So what is F1? It is m u1 square by L and m u2 square by L, where u2 is the velocity of the second molecule. Mass and distance travelled are same of all the molecules. mu3 square by L and so on up to mun square by L. So I am taking out m by L as common. It is u1 square plus u2 square and so on up to un square. So this is the total force exerted by each and every molecule along x direction. Now if we write pressure along x direction, this is small p suffix x, which is nothing but force by area. So what is area of the wall? It is L square. Area of the wall is L square. Wall ABCD. It is a square. So it is Fx by L square. This will come out to be m by L into L square in the denominator. So L cube here. u1 square plus u2 square plus so on up to un square. So this is the total pressure exerted by all the molecules. Total pressure exerted by all molecules in x direction. Similarly, I can also write the total pressure exerted by all molecules in y direction. I am indicating that as Py. So it will be Fy by L square. Now m by L cube is common. So what is the component of velocity in y direction? We have assumed that as v. So for first molecule it is v1 and for the second molecule it is v2 and so on up to vn square. For the total pressure exerted on the wall by all molecules in z direction, you have to take Fz by L square, which is again m by L cube into the direction along the direction z. We have assumed the components as w. So for the first molecule, the z component of velocity will be w1 square of it, w2 square plus so on up to wn square. Now one important known fact is that whenever a gas is entrapped inside an area or a volume, pressure exerted inside this volume, pressure exerted by the gas inside this volume will be same in all directions, right? It will not be like in this direction the pressure is more and in this direction it is less. Pressure exerted by the gas molecules in all the directions will be same. So what does it mean here? Px should be equal to Py and it is further equal to Pz. Okay, so all these terms are same. So pressure along all the directions is same. Now let me calculate the average pressure, that is P is equal to Px plus Py plus Pz divided by 3. Now Px is equal to Py is equal to Pz. So I can write it as 3Px by 3, which is nothing but Px, or again Py or Pz. So the average pressure will be any of these two. All the magnitudes are same. All the values are same. So without substituting Py and Pz as Px, I'll as it is replace Px, Py and Pz. So P is equal to, what is Px? It is m by L cube into u1 square plus u2 square plus so on up to un square. What is Py? It is m by L cube v1 square plus v2 square so on up to vn square plus Pz is m by L cube w1 square plus w2 square so on up to wn square. So this is Px, Py and Pz whole divided by 3. Now I am taking m by 3L cube as common. So it is u1 square plus u2 square so on up to un square plus v1 square plus v2 square so on up to vn square plus w1 square so on up to wn square. Now I am taking u1, v1 and w at one place. w1 at one place. So I am rewriting this as u1 square plus v1 square plus w1 square. This is of the first molecule. Plus u2 square plus v2 square plus w2 square of the second molecule and so on up to un square plus vn square plus wn square. Now in the first part of the derivation itself we have learned that these are the velocity components of C1 along x, y and z axis. So when you square and sum them up, it will be C1 square. So m by 3L cube is into C1 square. This is the velocity of first molecule squared plus C2 square. This is of the second molecule and so on up to Cn square. Now what is L cube? It is the volume of the cube. Okay, volume of cube. Let it be capital V. So I am replacing P as m by 3 into capital V into C1 square plus C2 square plus so on up to Cn square. Now let us assume that the sum of squares of all the velocities divided by the total number of molecules is the mean square velocity, which is denoted by c bar square. So when you apply root on the right hand side of this term, this equation, you will get c bar, which is nothing but under root c1 square plus c2 square so on up to cn square divided by capital N. This is called root mean square velocity. Now I will apply this term in this equation, in the pressure equation. I will rewrite that equation as P is equal to m by 3V into, what is this? It is only C1 square plus, only the numerator is there here. So if I want to write it in terms of C bar square, I have to cross multiply. So I am writing this term as capital N into C bar square. Now I will multiply V on the left hand side. P into V, pressure into volume, is equal to M N C bar square divided by 3, or I can write it as 1 by 3 M N C bar square. So this equation is called fundamental equation of kinetic theory of gases. Fundamental equation of kinetic theory of gases, and it is also called kinetic equation of gases. So this is very important to remember. It is a kinetic equation of gases. It is called kinetic equation of gases or fundamental equation of kinetic theory of gases. I am rewriting the equation 1 here. Now I rearrange the terms to see the equation in a different form. 1 by 3 M N divided by V C bar square. Now what is M? It is a mass of single molecule. M into N will be the mass of the total system. Mass of the total system divided by the volume of the gas will give you the density. It is mass by volume. So it is 1 by 3 rho C bar square, which is P. I will denote this equation as 2. So where rho is total mass divided by total volume. Now I will find C bar from equation 3. C bar square is equal to 3P by rho. So if I want C bar, I have to apply square root on the right hand side. So it is under root 3P by rho. So if I again expand the rho term, it will be 3P rho is what? Mn divided by V. So this is also a very important relation to remember. This is about the pressure exerted by an ideal gas and kinetic theory of gases. Thank you.